Welcome, let us introduce you to one last build for Necropolis, a Fire Trap of Blasting Elementalist. Fire Trap of Blasting has lower base damage than its non-transfigured counterpart, but has much higher added fire damage against burning enemies. That's great news for this build, which relies on Ignite for most of its damage output. The effectiveness of added damage is very high for Fire Trap. It's 260%, making the added damage for this very skill much more potent, and it's the main reason for using it at all. No other spell with such good added damage effectiveness has this built-in added damage component. That's why it's better than the regular Fire Trap. Spell-based Ignite Elementalist builds are all very similar, and this one is no exception. It relies heavily on reducing enemies' fire resistance with debuffs and such, since you can't penetrate resistances with damage over time, and then increasing the negative resistances with Eye of Malice. You will allocate the standard Shaper of Flames, going for the Heart of Destruction later. Ignite builds are good against bosses as the ailment lasts for a long time and is constant, with no fluctuations, unless the enemy moves often and the Flame Surge can't keep up with burning grounds. Fire Trap of Blasting releases no burning ground when activated, but that can be fixed with Flame Surge linked to Arcanus Brand. It's just a bit more hassle to create it. For clearing maps, you will also rely on Frost Blink, the damage of which is low, but good enough. The build's defense is tied to maximum life, a lot of evasion rating, capped spell suppression chance, Bastion of Elements, and shifting a big portion of incoming physical hit damage to be taken as lightning and cold. It's usually enough to endure most situations, but you still have to dodge big hits. Clear speed is fine if you're comfortable with using Shield Charge, Frost Blink, and Fire Trap. Getting used to it takes an hour or two. You can reach up to 20 million combined damage over time with good items, and when the Elemental Overload and Convergence align. Can be assembled on a shoestring budget and uses common unique items. A good weapon or corrupted uniques may be expensive. Put on Eye of Malice and Legacy of Fury, for these are the best in-slot items for more damage. Replica Dragonfang's Flight is also far ahead of its substitutes, although it may be a bit expensive as Fire Trap is indeed popular. The price of Profane Proxy quickly dips after the league starts, and it's also great since you have to use skitterbots anyhow. The enemy has their resistance reduced with Combustion, Curses, Passives, Scorch and Exposure, which adds up to a lot. With Eye of Malice, their negative resistance is increased, resulting in around negative 150% fire resistance against enemies with base 50% fire resistance. You have very low armor and physical damage reduction, so the most sound option is to shift physical damage to be taken as some other type of damage, which this lightning coil does. Legacy of Fury scorches nearby enemies, which reduces their fire resistance, and explodes them on kill for an even better clear speed. Replica Dragonfang's Flight is the amulet we recommend. It increases the gem level of Fire Trap, increases mana reservation efficiency, reduces attribute requirements, and grants resistances with attributes. Use a similar rare amulet if you need more attributes or resistances, but that should not be a concern. With Anathema, you may be able to apply 3 curses instead of 2, or even up to 5 without the need to spend points on Whispers of Doom, but extra power charges instead. These additional curses can be punishment or enfeeble. Socket Flammability in the Profane Proxy. Your skitterbots don't need to chill, so put it in your left ring slot. Lethal Pride is used mainly for more strength. Upgrade your notables with additional strength, increase maximum life, increased burning damage, and most importantly, ignites you inflict deal damage 10% faster. Socket it near instability or overcharge. Watcher's Eye, you're using Grace, Vitality, and Malevolence. We recommend DOT multiplier from Malevolence and some defensive stat from Grace, such as extra evasion or spell suppression chance. To get more damage, try to increase gem level of Fire Trap, burning damage, DOT multiplier, and make your ignites deal damage faster. Your main defensive layers are evasion, spell suppression chance, and shifting physical damage to be taken as lightning and cold. Be sure that your gloves have evasion to activate the spell suppression bonus from Evasion Mastery. You will also need a bit of extra strength and dexterity. Use a weapon with increased fire damage, damage over time multiplier, burning damage, and level to all fire spell skill gems. It can get very expensive. Use the ES Evasion Shield for spell suppression that can be found as an implicit and suffix, On top of that, look for maximum life and resistances. You need an evasion or mixed evasion gloves base with spell suppression, resistances, and maximum life. Dexterity is commonly found on all gloves. For the Eldritch mods, seek fire exposure on hit and ignite proliferation or fire damage over time multiplier. Belt. Here you can find maximum life, strength, resistances, energy shield if you need it, life regeneration, and various flask modifiers. Most likely you will need a rare ring for attributes and resistances. Get some maximum life too, maybe even evasion or energy shield. You will use approximately 3 rare jewels. Look for maximum life, faster ignite, increased burning damage, or fire damage over time multiplier. Use 1 fire damage large cluster jewel with passives such as Sadist, Prismatic Heart, Disorienting Display, or Smoking Remains. Sadist is good but a bit unreliable. Medium cluster jewel, Blowback and Wasting Affliction are the best notables for more damage, but Student of Decay grants some chaos resistance. If you've anointed Whispers of Doom, you can use 2 of such jewels. Use Taste of Hate to shift physical damage to be taken as cold. We also recommend Life Flask with bleed removal, Jade, Quartz, and Quicksilver flasks. They should reduce the effect of the curse on you, increase your evasion rating, and critical strike chance to proc elemental overload, alternatively movement speed. Fire Trap of Blasting adds a lot of damage against burning enemies, and you can bet they will be burning as each trap ignites and explodes at least twice. It doesn't create burning ground. Link it with Empower, burning damage, trap and mine damage, deadly ailments, and swift affliction support gems. Skitterbots are used to apply Curse via Profane Proxy and shock enemies, causing them to take increased damage. They also grant more trap damage and detonate traps. Tempest Shield adds spell block chance and shock immunity. Grace is here for more and increased evasion rating to dodge attacks. Link these 3 mana reserving skills with Enlighten support to reserve less mana. Frostblink is a mobility skill with damage high enough to slay minor enemies. It's also used to apply combustion against bosses, so be sure to crash into them every 3 seconds. Link it with Combustion, Cold to Fire, and Ignite Proliferation support gems. Malevolence Aura grants more damage over time and increases skill effect duration. Link it with Divine Blessing support. With Eldritch Battery you can afford to cast Malevolence as a temporary aura, just be sure you have enough maximum energy shield. Infernal Cry covers enemies in ash, causing them to take increased fire damage. Link it with Call to Arms so that it triggers Infernal Cry automatically. Arcanist Brand sticks to the enemy and triggers all linked spells in sequence. It saves you a button to press. These spells are Elemental Weakness, which lowers all elemental resistances, including fire resistance and flame surge. It creates burning ground, which you cannot do with the Transfigured Fire Trap. Its damage is tied to the ignite damage of the enemy it hits. Shield Charge is another mobility skill you can use alongside Frostblink. It has no cooldown, so use it if there are no enemies nearby. Link it with faster attack support to move faster. You should still have a bit of mana. Spend all of it on Vitality to regenerate life, you don't need unreserved mana. Flammability reduces fire resistance, the most important curse. Socket it in Profane Proxy. We recommend killing all bandits for 2 additional passive points. Soul of the Brine King seems like the best major god. It reduces the effect of chill, grants freeze immunity, and makes you immune to stuns if you've been stunned recently. Soul of Abarath reduces the ignite duration on you and makes you unaffected by burning ground. It's great. The passive skill tree is a source of elemental damage, fire damage, burning damage, damage over time, maximum life, spell suppression, and reservation efficiency. Be sure to allocate Whispers of Doom, Eldritch Battery, and Elemental Overload. You have enough space for 1 large cluster jewel, but with some corners cut you may equip another one. Your masteries are a Life Mastery for 50 life, Fire Mastery to improve fire exposure, Evasion Mastery for plus 15% conditional spell suppression, and maybe a Curse Mastery to take 40% less extra critical damage. That is all for this guide. We can't be 100% sure how relevant it will be in 3.125, but it's a well-established quintessential Ignite build, and we doubt it'll be rearranged in any major way. Stay safe, and see you soon.